I want to go back and dig a little bit deeper into the item that we've talked about, which is that bitachon equals simcha, equals joy. I it seems as though the majority of people who talk about bitachon, they speak about um, accepting Hashem's will. Somebody wrote, Bitachon is the attitude that I did not write the script. I am not the director. I have not been hired to write the reviews either. My job is to act. I, it's amazing to me that this has become almost normative. Like this is what people will answer on the street when you ask them what bitachon is. And the things that they're describing are all contained in what we would call hachnoah and ratzon. That's what they are describing, hachnoah and ratzon, which are very important and wonderful, etc., but they're not what defines bitachon. Bitachon is not simply the fact that Hashem writes the script and sort of these are the cards. Don't ask to change the cards. Rather, play the cards. Play them the way they are. It's almost like bitachon is a limitation on the sphere of behavior, meaning you can bitachon is um, don't try to change the script. Rather, um, work with what you've been given. Work with the reality. Work with the circumstances. Again, those are features of hachna. Those are features of um, a certain amount of anova and certainly of ratzon, but they are not features of bitachon per se. Bitachon is the degree to which a person is besimcha when he hears about or thinks about the fact that Hashem runs the world. Again, the Shara Bitachon, the Chovos HaLevavos describes how wonderful it is that Hashem runs the world, that because he has your interests at heart and he loves you, and because he's all powerful, and because he has all of the options available to him, and because there's no competition, and because there's no other force that affects you, and everything that is done is only done for your good. So the Chovos HaLevavos describes in Shara Bitachon why this is such good news, why the news that Hashem runs everything absolutely is such good news. But the measure of bitachon is the degree to which a person feels that it is good news to the point where it alters his mood. It alters his orientation. It doesn't remain as a fact, which can easily be put into emuna. It changes his mood. And we mentioned the Gur Aryeh, who said that for a person who has bitachon, anger is not even a possibility. He's so delighted with his relationship with Hashem that it overshadows any negativity that he might have. For some reason, bitachon keeps on getting described as you should accept Hashem's will and not quibble with his decisions, not quibble with his even if they're not to your liking, not you wouldn't agree to them. You should submit, and that's all hachnoah. And I don't know how it is that became synonymous with bitachon. Bitachon is a subset of avas Hashem. It is where a person experiences that sense of joy over the fact that he is aware that Hashem runs the world, which would mean, like, if you would ask a Dodgers fan, say, tell me again, the Dodgers won the World Series. Tell me again. Because every time I hear it, I have such hana, I have such pleasure, I have such joy. So tell me again that they won. You could do the same thing with elections. Tell me again who won, because it brings me such joy. So that's what a person would do every time they think about the fact that Hashem controls every aspect of their world, of our world, every aspect. And of course, it goes through the list of why it is that that's such good news. Because he has only my interest, because he has no competition, because is all powerful, because he can explore every possibility, because he's with me from the beginning of my life till the end, because he's going to be that way with me, whether I'm a good boy or I'm a bad boy. Of course, all of those things are why it's such good news. But the measure of bitachon is the degree to which it affects your mood. It's not that it is, bitachon is an experience of simcha. And for some reason, this got a little bit taken off the main page of bitachon discussions. And the bitachon discussions are all sort of, let's accept Hashem's will and let's submit and let's accept that even though everything's all so messed up, we defer and we accept. That's hachno, that's rotzon, it's not bitachon. It might be a cousin of bitachon, but bitachon is the experience of the simcha that a person has. Somebody told me that he once saw Rav Per, Rav Chil Per, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, and he lived not far from him, so he saw him entering on his way towards his house. And he went over to him and he wanted to say over a chazal, he wanted to say something over. And the opening line was, we know that Hashem loves us. And he was about to go on to say his word. And all Rav Per said to him, tell me again. Tell me again that Hashem loves me. Tell me again. Let me hear it. Tell me. And he actually asked him to tell him again. Tell me again. When you have a piece of good news, you want to hear the good news over and over again, because every time you hear it, it gives you another lift, another charge, another sense of joy. So you want to hear it again. That's what bitachon is. That every time you think of it, it gives you another sense of a joy and a lift. It's not that you can somehow submit to his will and not be a kvetch. That's good. That's good. And then it's covered. Bitachon is what allows a person to feel that that I would do anything for that relationship. If it means overcoming a challenge, I would do anything for that relationship. It's a love, it's a bond, it's a closeness. As I said, it's a subset of Avas Hashem. And that's why the Gur Aryeh says that had Moshe had a higher level of bitachon, he would not have spoken harshly to the people. He would not have hit the rock twice. It wouldn't be possible. He's in a state of ecstasy. He's in a state of joy. And that's why the Orchos Tzadikim, his entire description of bitachon, is nested in Shar HaSimcha, because that's synonymous. Those two are the same word. And it occurred to me that when I was a youngster, I heard the same shmooze from the Rosh Hashivas itself, from Rav Henoch Leibowitz. I heard the same shmooze twice. A span of a couple of years difference. This is interesting because this is something that I heard 50 years ago. And you're supposed to be able to understand your Rebbe after 40 years. So I'm a little on the slow class. So I didn't get it. Now I think I get it. He spoke about the pasuk in Vayikra. The pasuk says, "Lo sikom v'lo sitor es b'nei amecha, v'ohavta l'reacha kamocha, ani Hashem." Okay, so we're going to look at that pasuk. You have to put the word rather into the translation. It doesn't work otherwise. Lo sikom v'lo sitor es b'nei amecha Don't take revenge, nor feel a sense of nitira, negativity, holding a grudge. Don't take revenge or hold a grudge against your fellow. Rather, you got to put the word rather in there. Rather, you must love him. Also concludes, Ani Hashem. So the Rosh Yeshiva said, it's a big shift to go from feeling negativity, a desire for revenge. He described how sweet the desire for revenge is. The Chazal wax eloquent about how it's the sweetest feeling is to get revenge. Don't bear a grudge. Rather, love him unequivocally. Ani Hashem. So the Rosh Yeshiva said that Ani Hashem is put into the pasuk to tell you how to do it, how to make the switch. And he described it in terms of winning the lottery. So he would say, imagine this fellow came to your dorm room and Zol Bochrim and borrowed your shaver. And he returned your shaver and it needed a repair. And he didn't so much as say, I'm sorry or thank you. And you know what? He borrowed it again. And again, it needed a repair. And now he's at your door. Guess what he wants to borrow? He wants to borrow your shaver. And you're about to let him have it. No, not the shaver. Over the head. You're about to let him have it. And the phone rings. And you, of course, leave him at the door and you slowly walk over to the phone. And it's the state of Illinois. It's a $20 million lottery. And they've identified you as the sole winner of a $20 million lottery. And you check, you sure you have the right person, and you check, confirm it's the right person, $20 million lottery, the sole winner. And you just want to dance. And all you can feel like doing is dancing, but there's nobody around except this guy at the door, and you grab him and you start dancing. $20 million. And somebody walks by down the hall and he sees you dancing and he says, what about the shaver? He said, you gotta be kidding. The shaver, he can keep the shaver. I'm never gonna shave myself again. $20 million. Rosh Yeshiva said that is the switch that is contained in the pasuk in Ani Hashem, and I never understood what he meant until B'siyata Nishmaya this week. I think I understand what he said, what he meant. He meant that if you can zone in on Bitachon the way it's meant to be zoned in, then the news, when you hear it again, and you think it again, and you review it again, and you go over it in your mind, and you notice it again, then suddenly all the negativity just fades away because you just won the lottery. So the ability to go over at each davening, to remind ourselves, Hashem is echad, and his achdus takes into account every bit of my needs. There is absolutely nothing that he's not taking into account, no matter what it looks like. I am the luckiest person in the world because I have Hashem looking after my every possible need, and he has only my best interests at heart, and no competition, and even if I'm not a good boy, etc. And that joy is the measure of a person's bitachon. So let's leave the wonderful idea that we don't quibble with Hashem and we accept Hashem's will and we defer and we don't question and we love. And all that's wonderful stuff. It's wonderful. It's amply described in Sharach No. It's amply described as the Midah of Ratzon. It's wonderful. It's great. Let's not confuse it, because what has happened is that because those things, which certainly are subsets of bitachon or related to bitachon, they have allowed people to walk around unhappy. But of course, they defer, but they're unhappy. They don't walk with the simcha that bitachon is meant to deliver. So the fact that we put joy down on the list of what would I look like if I had bitachon, what would I look like? What would I feel like? It Joy has to be the first thing on the list because it is virtually the definition of bitachon. In fact, according to the Gur Aryeh, it is the definition. The terms are virtually synonymous, and we see it in the Orchos Tzadikim where it's nested in the Shara Simcha. So I just wanted to clarify so that people who are walking with, don't quibble, we're not asking you for editorial comment about Hashem's will and do what you need to do, just act. It's wonderful. Those are all very good. But if we stop there, we're going to miss the end zone. And the end zone is where we recognize that Hashem is in such an intimate relationship with each of us that it enables me to be in joy, and it enables me to overcome challenges, to overcome negativity, to overcome Yetzer Hara, because I have this beloved friend, Reacha v'Reya Avicha. I have this beloved friend, and that friendship, that closeness, is what allows me to progress and to pursue what I'm meant to pursue in the world.